I hate to disparage a sitting congressman, but I don't think he said a single thing that was accurate. And talk about the pot calling the kettle black. To call any entity a garden of snakes when sitting in the House of Congress is irony of the highest order. He even went on, obviously, to describe the broken political process and somehow believes that more PACs and more money is the answer to fixing this. This is outright fraud. Sam Bankman-Fried is a criminal. This is not an indictment of the crypto industry. It has nothing to do with the actual assets or the asset class. It's simply fraud. It's disingenuous to pretend that this is because of crypto. We've seen fraud in other industries. Bernie Madoff was not an indictment on the entire financial system. So I think that he's just off base. These are his talking points. And they're doing their victory lap right now because of this collapse. But the time to dance on the grave of crypto is going to come to an end very soon.
If this has nothing to do with crypto, what in the world is the SEC and the CFTC involved for?
Well, the SEC and the CFTC obviously should be involved in giving us reasonable and rational regulation, but the SEC has given absolutely no clarity. They're completely complicit in everything that's happened here because they forced all of the innovation, all of the Americans who wanted to trade, all of the investment offshore to places where they couldn't regulate. If the SEC had simply given some clarity as to what is a security, what is not, how an exchange should be regulated, then we wouldn't have had this problem in the first place. And the SEC and CFTC are simply jockeying for position and for power right now, each trying to deem the assets securities or commodities so that they can oversee it. Right now, this is just an opportunity for them to come in with a heavy hand on the industry when they failed to do so when they had the chance before. This is as much their fault as it is anyone else's.
Hey, Scott Pross here. You know, as an outsider looking in the world of crypto, we kind of see one after another sort of dominoes falling, more kind of wrongdoing. And now after FTX, we see Binance possibly in the crosshairs for some wrongdoing they did a couple years ago. I guess from the outside looking in, it seems like this industry is sort of full with some sort of, I don't want to say fraud, but some kind of wrongdoing. Is there a way to actually kind of root that out or kind of improve the reputation of these companies so people can actually want to be involved with crypto that are sort of like not necessarily huge digital natives?
Well, first of all, once again, none of that has anything to do with buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum, holding those assets and believing in their use case. This has to do with the industry that was built around it, right? Once again, you can go back to 2008 and talk about Lehman Brothers and the contagion that happened after that, but nobody ever said that Wall Street and banks shouldn't exist after those things happened. Speaking of Binance, I haven't seen anything substantiated as of yet. They did pause USDC withdrawals, but you could withdraw literally everything else. Everybody who's been watching knows that Binance automatically converts USDC to their own stablecoin, BUSD. So when people are coming to withdraw USDC, they have to go back to USDC and then offer that withdrawal. So I don't see that as a problem. I think this is a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People very reasonably are worried about leaving their assets on exchanges, but you can simply self-custody, take your assets, put them in a hardware wallet, and not worry about literally any of this. That is the original ethos. That is the original reason for Bitcoin, so that you could opt out of these legacy systems that exist and avoid the Brad Shermans of the world who are going to come in and the Gary Genslers who are going to try to regulate and legislate this away. There are absolutely reasons for crypto that have nothing to do with what Brad Sherman said. And for that reason, people should hold this asset, hold it themselves, self-custody it, and be their own bank. But I don't see any reason to believe that Binance is going under at the moment. And of course, we saw contagion because everybody was washed out. As Warren Buffett always says, you can see who's swimming naked when the tide washes out. Well, there was a lot of that in the crypto industry, but again, not an indictment on the assets.
Well, Scott, there clearly are still a lot of believers. We brought up the price of Bitcoin today, still very resilient, up, another 3.5%, just below 18,000. When you talk about getting investors back on board or maybe convincing those that have been a bit skeptical because of everything that's played out in the industry over the last several months, what's it going to take in order to see a significant move to the upside for Bitcoin?
It's hard to know. I mean, we can go back to March of 2020, of course, when we saw Bitcoin bottom under 4,000, March 12th. Everyone will remember Black Thursday for crypto. The stock market bottomed 12 days later. Everybody thought it was over. Stocks doubled. Bitcoin went up 17 times to $69,000. Right? So when the Fed eventually pivots, when we have money printing, if that ever happens again, when we have quantitative easing, or at least a slow in the hawkish cycle, I believe that we will once again see Bitcoin rise and it'll be a high beta asset like it was before. If you believe that the bottom is in or close, this is the asset class that you want to be in on the way up. It doesn't need a narrative. It doesn't need a story. That is how it will behave. People should absolutely be rushing to buy Bitcoin right now. If they liked it at 69,000, 50, 40, 30, 20, you should absolutely love it at 17,000. This is simply another bear market, another bearish cycle. We've seen it over and over and over again in every single market. And the more people scream that it's dead, that it's going to zero, that it has no use case, that it's for criminals and it's only for evading sanctions, the more you should be interested in buying it.
Quickly, listen, 8% of the American public has a favorable view of crypto. 8. That is half of Congress to come full circle. And if Sequoia Capital was fooled, who manages $85 billion, how do you expect the industry to regain the public's trust?
I don't think the industry needs to regain the public's trust. I think that the asset classes need to regain the public's trust, and this has nothing to do with it. Bitcoin itself has nothing to do with what happened with FTX. I don't know how to state that more plainly, but this was outright fraud. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if 8% of the population has a favorable view of it. The asset will rise again, and it will remain important. It will become a hedge against inflation and all of the reasons that people buy it in the first place.